let's talk about emotions and how they affect your body and your well-being. Your emotions play a huge part in your health and in your reality. They create circumstances for you. Pretty much your emotions are what are creating your reality. Pretty much all the medical traditions that we have all come down and say, hey, your emotions, watch them. They can create either health or disease in your body. Even Western medicine is now starting to tell us, calm down with that stress and overwhelm, because you can create heart attacks, obesity, diabetes, all these things because of stress. So our emotions play key factors in how healthy we are. Actually, how happy we are is really affected by this. So I was thinking about this, right? If emotions play such a huge part in our well-being, then it's so important for us to have a grasp, an understanding, and some control over them. We don't want our emotions to have control of us, because if we do allow our emotions to have control of us, they create our experience. They start to create and they snowball into almost a forgetting of the opposite emotion. If we allow one emotion to overpower and take over our lives, it actually starts to knock out the opposite emotion. So let's say with grief. If somebody is grieving but they're not allowing any other emotion in there besides grief, slowly but surely all those other emotions start to almost be forgotten, to the point where the person might actually get depressed because they have forgotten what it's like to have joy. So I was thinking about this, right? And what I realized is that one of the keys of your emotions is to notice, to be aware if you're having a major emotion overpowering the other ones, and then try to counterbalance that emotion with the opposite emotion. So if you're feeling like you're carrying too much anger, it could be that you're carrying too much grief, carrying too much boredom, whatever emotion it is that you feel is overtaking you to the point of affecting your existence, your reality, you first have to become aware of what that emotion is. So if you're carrying around anger and you're snapping at the person online, if you're cutting people off in traffic, you're angry with your kids, your husband, whatever it is, if you notice that you're carrying too much anger, then what you can do is that awareness can bring you into a place where you could actually start releasing that. You can go and get an acupuncture treatment, and as acupuncturists, we know what points to do to get that energy flowing and help you feel better. But you yourself also have the power with your mind and your spirit to get those emotions moving. So the key is to find out which emotion is overpowering you, is creating your reality for you. Meaning if the level of a certain emotion has gotten so high in your life and it's actually creating things for you, like bad situations, a miserable day, then the first step is awareness. Be aware of what's happening. Acknowledge to yourself that, oh, there's a problem with grief. Oh, I'm having trouble letting go of grief. Oh, I'm angry every day. Oh, I don't seem to have enough joy in my life. I'm sad, like I just can't get out of it. The first step is to know that this is an issue. Then you're going to want to figure out the opposite emotion to that which is disturbing you. So it takes a little bit of actually taking some time to analyze yourself and your emotions. But if, let's say, you have been angry, you're going to stop and think, okay, what is the opposite emotion to that? I would like to instead be feeling peace, or I would like to be feeling happiness. So once you pin that down, whatever that is for you, for each person it'll be a different emotion, but the inner work that you do to find out that opposite emotion is part of the journey. So you're going to figure out what the opposite emotion is. Once you figure that out, what you're going to want to do is insert more of that emotion into your day on purpose. Yes, we're trying to trick your brain. We're trying to counterbalance the random emotion that you have allowed to just take over your life. And the way to do it is to actually take action. So you're going to, on purpose, put into your life things that make you happy. If you're living with anger, you're going to bring things in that bring you joy if you're living with grief. And it seems so hard many times, especially if you've allowed that emotion to truly take most of your control away. It seems even harder. Think of a person who is very depressed to the point of maybe suicide. They can't see why they would want to stay here if there's absolutely zero joy to be had. They have allowed the sadness to overwhelm all their other emotions to the point of not seeing even a slight speck of joy that can enter. So we want to catch it before things get that bad, right? And I'm not saying that it's not possible at that level, it is. But we want to catch things before we lose sight of any of the positive, good emotions. One example of how to do this is, let's say that you're so angry with somebody, one of your coworkers. They're talking about you, they're gossipy, you're just pissed at their behavior. And it's affecting you. You leave work, you're like calling your friend and you're telling her all about it and how mad you are and how unfair it is. Then you get home and you tell your husband. It's just taking over your day. You're allowing that emotion to start creating your reality. It created the conversation that you had on the way home. It created the situation when you got home. So one way to stop it from doing this is to, okay, feel it. It's not nice. They're talking about me at work. This person is so gossipy. You acknowledge it, and then you try to let it go. Don't allow it to enter into the rest of your life. Look, if you need to vent and talk to somebody about it, go ahead. I mean, that's a way of releasing too. But then get to business. Figure out the opposite of emotion and insert that into your day. So those people want to talk about you at work and be gossipy, and it makes you angry. Decide to do something beautiful for yourself because you love yourself and because you're worth it and you're not those things that they're talking about. So maybe get into a nice bath and treat yourself, read a book, do whatever it is that you love doing. Put some love into your life that day. I truly believe that inserting the opposite emotion into any situation is the way to heal it. If you're sad, if you're having grief, apply some joy and some happiness wherever you can. Whether into the situation itself, right? So if you could spread love, if everybody's talking nasty at work and you could be the one to spread some love there, then do that. But if you can't, if it's like, oh, I can't even deal with them, that's okay. Just insert some love into your personal life, into your personal space. And that will counterbalance all the blocking that happened while you were in the actual situation. The key is to get your energy flowing. The energy flowing will get the emotion flowing. And a way to do that is to push that blocked emotion with the opposite emotion. It is so important that we learn to manage our emotions, that we learn to accept them, acknowledge them, and keep them moving. I like to think of emotions as like living beings, right? They come into your life. You're not going to stop them. They're going to come in, but you don't want any certain emotion taking house in your body too much. So the keys are to be aware that this is happening to you. The second part is don't agree that this is what you want, right? So say, I don't agree with this. I don't want to be in grief all the time. I don't want to be angry all the time. Whatever that emotion is, you have to decide that it's not what you want for your life. And then the third thing you have to do is to actually take steps to get that emotion flowing. And that takes work. That's why I think that we should learn this. This should be taught to our kids in school, right? I think some country does it, right? Japan, one of the Scandinavian countries, I read that they're teaching emotional intelligence to kids. I think that as a society, we've lacked a bit of that. If you don't do the work yourself, you might be lacking in it. So you actually have to decide to make a change, to change your life in order to create the reality that you want. You're going to see that when you start doing this, replacing negative emotions with the opposite positive one, you're going to see that your life starts to transform. You're going to see that you are happier, even if the situation hasn't changed. You're actually choosing happiness for yourself, and that's going to create a better reality. The way you heal this is, let's say the situation is that that person is causing you trouble at work. It's creating a lot of anger for you. You're angry going in, you're angry coming out of work. You then have to insert the positive emotion, right? So joy, love, happiness, whichever one feels right to you. You have to insert that into your life somehow. If you can do it into the situation itself. So maybe putting joy into the situation means leaving that job because you love yourself so much that you deserve a better workplace. But if that's not possible, then insert the joy, love, happiness in any other part of your life. What you want to do is overall, your anger and your joy in life should be, the joy should be higher. You're going to feel anger sometimes because you're human, but joy should be much higher. And you can get that done by inserting joy, happiness, any activity that brings that to you throughout your day. Doing this on purpose is awesome because you realize that you are in control of your emotions and then of creating your reality. This is how it starts. This puts you in the driver's seat of creating your life. Yes, different circumstances come in that cause different emotions that we don't want a lot of, but you have the tools then to counterbalance that and not allow those emotions to get stuck and create physical problems. I can't tell you how much this system has changed my life. Many times I haven't even caught what's happening. Our emotions can be tricky. Sometimes I haven't even caught that I'm having too much of a certain emotion, but being an acupuncturist, I know which emotions can cause what symptoms. And for example, sometimes I might randomly get a physical symptom and I'm like, wait, why is this happening? What emotion is tied to that? Oh, I am having too much of that emotion. And I do the tools I just explained to you to get that emotion flowing. So the best thing to do is to figure out your emotions, take some control back from them, and stay in love, peace, and joy. Namaste.